I died on March 15th. Not literally. My heart still pumped blood through my veins. My lungs still pulled in air. But the woman I used to be, Emma Lawson, the girl who laughed loudest at every party, who dreamed of becoming a teacher, who believed in true love with every fiber of her being, she was gone. Marcus Cole killed her, slowly, one punch at a time, one apology at a time, one lie at a time. And when I finally ran into the darkness with nothing but the clothes on my back, I didn't know where I was going. I only knew that staying meant dying for real. That was 6 months ago. Now I stood trembling outside Morrison's General Store in Pine Ridge, Montana, holding out rusted coins for bread. My hands shook so violently the coins clinked together like broken wind chimes. The sound was pitiful. I was pitiful. 5 days without food. My vision had started going spotty 2 days ago. My legs felt like they belonged to someone else. The winter wind cut through my threadbare coat like it wasn't there at all. And maybe it wasn't. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I had already become the ghost everyone treated me as. Mrs. Patterson walked past. I recognized her immediately. The woman who used to bring casseroles when I was a newlywed, who told me Marcus was such a catch, who hugged me at church every Sunday. She saw me. I know she did. But her eyes slid away like I was made of smoke, and she crossed the street without breaking stride. Deputy Jenkins sat in his patrol car 20 feet away. The same man who told me twice that domestic matters aren't police business. The same man who played poker with Marcus every Thursday night. He didn't even pretend not to see me. He just watched, chewing on a toothpick, waiting for me to collapse so he could call someone to clean up the mess. My knees buckled. The concrete steps rushed up to meet me. The impact jarred through my bones, but I barely felt it. Everything had gone numb. My body, my heart, my will to keep fighting. This was how I would die. Not from Marcus's fists, but from the slow starvation that came after escaping them. I closed my eyes and waited for the end. The store door swung open. Heavy footsteps. Work boots on wood. Then silence. I forced my eyes open and saw a man standing over me. Tall, broad shoulders, dark hair streaked with early gray. His face was weathered, lined with the kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from missing one night's sleep. It comes from years of carrying something too heavy to put down. But his eyes, God, his eyes, storm gray, wounded. Looking at me like he actually saw me. For a long moment, neither of us moved. I waited for him to step over me like everyone else. Waited for him to pretend I didn't exist. Instead, he spoke 4 words that stopped my heart. Pack your things, you're coming home. I couldn't respond. My throat had been locked for 6 months, and those muscles had forgotten how to work. But it didn't matter. The stranger didn't wait for an answer. He walked back into the store and approached the counter where Morrison, a balding man who'd known me since I was a girl selling lemonade on summer sidewalks, suddenly found the canned goods fascinating. Flour, rice, bread, whatever meat you've got. The stranger's voice was low and steady, not aggressive, just leaving no room for argument. Morrison glanced through the glass door at me and then back at the stranger. His hands moved slowly, reluctantly, like he was handling something contaminated. That'll be $15. The stranger paid without comment. Through the window, I could see people watching, shadows of neighbors who used to smile when I walked past, faces of friends who had slowly stopped calling after Marcus convinced them I was difficult. They all watched this stranger help me, and not one of them moved. The door opened. He stood over me again, carrying brown paper bags. "Can you walk?" I nodded. I didn't know if it was true. He extended his hand. I stared at it. I didn't know this man. Didn't know why he would speak to me when the entire town had decided I was invisible. Didn't know what he wanted in return. But my body was shutting down, and his hand was warm and steady, waiting without impatience. I took it. He pulled me up easily. I weighed almost nothing anymore. His truck was old, forest green, the bed filled with lumber and woodworking tools. He opened the passenger door and I climbed in. The seat was cracked leather, warmed by weak winter sun. Heat blasted from the vents. I pulled my coat tighter and fought the urge to cry at the simple comfort of warmth. He drove in silence. Pine Ridge rolled past my window like a slideshow of my destroyed life. The church where I'd married Marcus 7 years ago, believing every promise he made. The diner where he'd first hit me across the face for laughing too long at the waiter's joke. The intersection where I'd finally understood, with absolute clarity, that staying meant dying. I remembered my mother's words from the night before my wedding. She was already sick then, already fading. She'd held my hands and said, "Baby girl, sometimes we fall in love with the image we want to see, not the person who's really there." I should have listened. "Do you have anywhere to go?" The stranger's voice startled me. I shook my head. "Then stay. My house needs someone to clean and cook. I'll pay fair wages. You'll have your own room." That was all. No questions, no demands, no judgment. We turned onto a gravel road that climbed into the mountains. The houses grew farther apart until there were no houses at all. Just pine trees and snow and silence. The truck stopped in front of a 2-story cabin made of dark wood. Smoke drifted from a stone chimney. A small bicycle lay on its side in the snow-dusted yard. "I have a son," the man said. "He's 7. Name's Ethan. Lost his mother 2 years ago." He paused. "He's quiet. Won't bother you." Inside, the house was warm. A fire crackled in a stone fireplace. The furniture was handmade, sturdy, beautiful in its simplicity. But what caught my attention were the photographs on the mantel. A woman appeared in most of them. Dark hair, bright smile, holding a baby. The same woman in a wedding dress. The same woman laughing in a kitchen, flower on her cheek. The same woman lying in a hospital bed, thin and pale, but still smiling at the camera like she was trying to comfort whoever was behind it. A small boy sat at the dining table coloring. He looked up when we entered. His eyes, the same storm gray as the stranger's, moved from his father to me and back again. He didn't ask questions, just nodded once and returned to his drawing. "My name is Nathan Harris," the man said. "Upstairs, second door on the right. That's the spare room." I climbed the stairs slowly. Every step felt like lifting stone. The second door opened to a small bedroom, single bed, wooden dresser, window overlooking the forest. Then I saw it. Women's clothes still hung in the closet. A hairbrush sat on the dresser, dark strands still caught in the bristles. A book lay on the nightstand, bookmark halfway through. A bottle of perfume, nearly empty. And on the small desk by the window, a journal lying open. The handwriting was feminine, careful. The last entry was dated 2 years ago. "Nathan, if I go first, promise me one thing. Don't let your heart die with me." My knees gave out. I sank onto the bed, surrounded by a dead woman's belongings, and finally understood. Nathan Harris hadn't just lost his wife. He had died with her. And when he saw me collapsed on those steps, he saw himself. He saw what it looks like when someone is slipping away and no one reaches out to catch them. I pulled the handmade quilt over my legs. Careful stitches, faded flowers, made by hands that would never touch it again. And for the first time in 6 months, I let myself cry. I didn't sleep that first night. I lay in the bed that belonged to a ghost, staring at the ceiling, waiting for the familiar sounds of danger. The heavy footsteps, the smell of whiskey, the creak of a door opening when it shouldn't. But there was only silence, the good kind, the kind I'd forgotten existed. Morning came gray and soft through the window. The smell of coffee drifted up from downstairs, and something else. Bacon, maybe. Real food. My stomach cramped painfully at the thought. I found Nathan in the kitchen, standing at the stove. His son sat at the table eating toast, swinging his legs. They both looked up when I appeared in the doorway. I must have looked terrible. Hollow cheeks, dark circles, hair that hadn't been properly washed in weeks. But neither of them flinched. Nathan set a plate in front of me. Eggs, toast, a glass of water. "Start slow," he said. "Your stomach needs time to remember how food works." I ate like it was a religious experience. Every bite hurt going down. But I didn't care. I cleaned the plate and drank the water and felt something like strength return to my limbs. Then I stood and started washing dishes. Nathan watched me. "You don't have to do that." But I kept washing. It was the only language I knew anymore. Work meant value. Value meant I could stay. And if I couldn't stay here, I had nowhere else to go. The days blurred together after that. I cleaned, I cooked. I made myself useful in every way I could think of. I scrubbed floors that were already clean. I organized cupboards that didn't need organizing. I mended curtains that had come loose from their rods. And I didn't speak. Not a word. My voice had been buried so deep during 6 months of hiding and running and surviving that I couldn't find it anymore. Every time I tried to form words, my throat closed up like someone had their hands around it. Then I found the notepad. It was in a kitchen drawer, half used, ordinary, but to me it was a lifeline. That night I wrote 2 words in careful print and left the paper on the table where Nathan would see it. "Thank you." The next morning, a reply sat beside my breakfast plate. Nathan's handwriting was blocky, practical. "Don't need to." I picked up the pen. "Why did you help me?" His response came that evening. "Because I know what drowning looks like." The notepad became our language. Short sentences, simple truths, safer than speaking out loud. "Can I stay longer?" "Stay as long as you want." "What do you need me to do?" "Nothing. Just rest." But I couldn't rest. Resting meant thinking. Thinking meant remembering. So I kept working, kept moving, kept trying to outrun the memories that chased me through every quiet moment. Nathan told me about his wife through those notes. Her name was Sarah. She was diagnosed with lung cancer when Ethan was 5 years old. Stage 4, already spreading. "We tried everything," he wrote. "Doctors, treatments, prayers. Nothing worked." She died in that room upstairs. I sat with her for 3 days after. Couldn't make myself leave. I understood then why he'd given me her room, why her clothes still hung in the closet, her perfume still sat on the dresser. Moving anything felt like losing her again. Ethan never spoke to me directly those first weeks, but every morning I found something outside my door. A wooden horse, hand-carved, a bird made from pine bark, smooth stones from the river arranged in a little pile, gifts from a boy who had also lost his voice once. Nathan told me Ethan didn't speak for 3 months after Sarah died. Just went silent, like the words had been stolen from him. He'd only recently started drawing again, started leaving his room, started coming back to life. I looked at those little offerings every morning and felt something crack in my chest. This child understood, without words, without explanations. He understood what it meant to be so broken you couldn't make a sound. 2 months passed. The leaves fell. The first snow came. I grew stronger. My hair got longer. The hollows under my eyes started to fill in. And then, one night, everything changed. I woke to screaming, raw, terrified, the kind of sound that tears itself from somewhere deeper than the throat. I was out of bed before I was fully awake, running down the dark hallway toward Ethan's room. He was sitting up in bed, face streaked with tears, gasping for air. "Mom," he sobbed. "Mom was gone. She was gone, and I couldn't find her." I didn't think. I just moved. I climbed onto the bed and pulled him into my arms, his small body shaking against mine. He clung to me like I was the only solid thing in the world, and something cracked open inside me. "I'm here," I whispered. The words came out broken, rough, barely audible, but they came. "I'm here, baby. I'm here." Not "it's okay," not "don't cry." "I'm here." Footsteps in the hallway. Nathan appeared in the doorway, freezing when he heard my voice. I looked up and saw his face. Shock, then wonder, then something that looked like grief and gratitude tangled together. I kept rocking Ethan, kept whispering reassurances, and Nathan watched like he was witnessing something impossible. When the boy finally fell back asleep, I laid him down gently and tucked the blanket around him. In the kitchen, Nathan and I faced each other across the table. Neither of us sat down. "You spoke." I nodded. My throat felt raw, like I'd been screaming for hours. "Can you speak now?" I tested my voice. I I don't know. Maybe." The words felt like broken glass coming out. But they came. Nathan sat down heavily, like his legs had given out. "What happened to you, Emma? Before Pine Ridge?" I sat across from him. The words came in fragments, broken pieces of a broken story. "My husband, Marcus Cole, he hurt me. For 7 years. I ran 6 months ago. I've been hiding ever since." Nathan's expression darkened. "Cole, the one who owns the sawmill. He owns everything. The police, the mayor, half the town owes him money." My voice cracked. "No one would help me. No one would even look at me. Why didn't you leave town?" "I tried once. He found me at the bus station, dragged me home, locked me in our bedroom for a week." I couldn't look at Nathan. After that, I knew. If I ran, I had to disappear completely, so I did. But disappearing meant starving, and starving meant I didn't finish. I didn't have to. Nathan was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached across the table and took my hand. "I'll help you." "Why?" The question burst out of me. "You don't know me. You don't owe me anything. Why are you doing this?" Nathan looked at the photographs on the mantle. Sarah's face smiled back at us. "Because I know what it looks like when someone's drowning," he said quietly. "And I couldn't save her, but maybe I can save you." I used to think monsters only existed in fairy tales. Then I married one. Marcus Cole didn't look like a monster. He was handsome in that clean-cut, all-American way that makes people trust you automatically. He wore nice suits. He donated to the church. He shook hands firmly and looked people in the eye. And everyone in Pine Ridge thought he was the best thing that ever happened to that town. They didn't see what happened behind closed doors. The first time he hit me was 2 months after our wedding. I'd burned dinner. He apologized afterward, crying, swearing it would never happen again. But it did, again and again and again, until the apology stopped and only the violence remained. I learned to read his moods like weather patterns, the slight tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw tightened when something displeased him, the particular silence that meant the storm was coming. I learned to make myself small, invisible, to agree with everything he said and anticipate every need, and never, ever give him a reason. But there was always a reason. That was the thing I learned too late. The reason didn't matter. The violence wasn't a response to anything I did. It was just who he was. 3 weeks after I found my voice, Nathan came home from delivering furniture with a face like stone. He handed me a piece of paper without speaking. I unfolded it with trembling hands. "I know where she is. She's still my wife. And Pine Ridge is still my town." MC. The letters blurred as my vision tunneled. Of course he'd found me. He always found me. I was his property, purchased with a ring and a marriage license. And Marcus Cole never let go of what belonged to him. "I should leave," I whispered. Nathan's response was immediate. No, he'll hurt you. Hurt Ethan. I can't. Emma. Nathan took both my hands. You're not going anywhere. Not unless you want to. You don't understand what he's capable of. Then tell me. So I did. I told him about Marcus's childhood, what Marcus had told me once, early in our marriage, when I still believed he could be saved. Marcus was 12 when his mother died. She fell down the stairs, according to the official report, but Marcus had been hiding in the hallway closet, listening to his parents fight. He heard the push. He heard her fall. He heard the silence afterward. His father never faced any consequences. The sheriff owed him money. The coroner owed him favors. That's how things worked in small towns where one man held all the power. Marcus had wept when he told me this story. He'd sworn he would never become his father. But trauma doesn't disappear just because you hate it. Sometimes it waits inside you, growing, until one day you look in the mirror and see your father's face staring back. 2 days later, Marcus came to the cabin. He didn't come with violence. That wasn't his style, not at first. He came with tears and apologies and reasonable explanations. Emma, sweetheart, I've been so worried about you. Nathan blocked the doorway. I stood behind him, frozen. She doesn't want to see you. Marcus smiled, the same charming smile that had fooled me 7 years ago. I just want to talk, clear up some confusion. She's been through a lot, not thinking straight. She's thinking perfectly fine. Time for you to leave. Something flickered in Marcus's eyes, the mask slipping, just for a moment. You don't understand the situation, Harris. This is a small town. People talk, and they're starting to talk about you. Let them. Marcus looked past Nathan to where I stood. His expression shifted into something I knew too well. Possessive, hungry, patient. I'll be back, Emma, he said softly. You know I will. You know you can't run forever. Nathan closed the door in his face. For 2 weeks, nothing happened. I started to breathe again. Started to believe that maybe, just maybe it was over. I should have known better. Nathan was delivering furniture. Ethan was at school. I was folding laundry when the back door crashed open. Marcus stood in the living room. He'd lost weight since I'd last seen him. His eyes had a wild, desperate look I'd never seen before. The mask was completely gone now. You think you can leave me? He grabbed my arm, yanking me forward. You think some backwoods carpenter can protect you? I ran, made it to the stairs before he caught me, dragging me back by my hair. My scalp screamed with pain. 6 months, Marcus snarled, throwing me against the wall. My head cracked against the corner. Stars exploded across my vision. 6 months I've been looking for you. Do you know what people say about me now? The front door banged open. Ethan ran in from the school bus, backpack still on his shoulders. He saw me on the floor, bleeding, saw Marcus standing over me. His small face went white with terror. Get out, I gasped. Ethan, run! Marcus grabbed the boy and shoved him aside. Ethan hit the floor hard and started crying. Something inside me snapped. Not broke, snapped. Like a rubber band stretched too far, finally releasing all that stored energy. I lunged at Marcus with a scream that came from somewhere deeper than my throat. 7 years of silence, 7 years of cowering, 7 years of making myself small. All of it erupted at once. I clawed at his face. I kicked. I bit. I fought like a wild animal because I wasn't just fighting for myself anymore. I was fighting for the child crying on the floor, for the man who had given me shelter, for the life I had just started to believe I deserved. Marcus stumbled back, shocked. In 7 years, I had never raised a hand to him, never raised my voice, never done anything but submit and apologize and pray for it to stop. Tires on gravel, Nathan's truck. Marcus heard it too. He looked at the door, then at me, then at the door again. This isn't over, he said. Then he ran. Nathan burst through the door seconds later. He took in the scene in a single glance. Me bleeding on the floor, his son crying, the back door swinging open. He knelt beside me, hands shaking as he touched my face. "I'll kill him," he said. His voice was calm, too calm. "I swear to God, Emma, I'll kill him." "No." I grabbed his shirt. "Don't become what he is. Please." Ethan crawled over and pressed himself against my side. I pulled him close with one arm, Nathan with the other. We stayed like that for a long time, the three of us, holding each other on the floor of a cabin in the woods while the winter wind howled outside. Marcus was arrested that night. State police, not local. Nathan had called them instead of Deputy Jenkins. For 48 hours, I let myself believe it was over. Then he was released. Insufficient evidence. My word against his. The note appeared on Nathan's windshield the next morning. "Next time, I won't leave anyone alive." That night, Nathan sat by the fireplace with a shotgun across his lap. I sat beside him, close enough that our shoulders touched. "You're not a killer, Nathan. I'll become whatever I need to become to protect this family." Family. The word hit me like a physical blow. No one had called me family in 7 years. Marcus had isolated me from everyone. My friends, my relatives, anyone who might have noticed what was happening. By the time my mother died, I hadn't spoken to her in 2 years because Marcus said she was toxic. I never got to say goodbye. "What do?" I asked. Nathan stared into the fire. "We wait, and when he comes, we end it." "How?" He didn't answer. At 2 in the morning, the sound came. Metal on metal. Someone picking the back door lock. Nathan was on his feet instantly, moving with a silence that surprised me. He gestured toward the basement door. "Take Ethan, lock it behind you. Don't come out until I come get you." "Nathan, go." I ran to Ethan's room, scooped him up while he was still half asleep, and carried him down to the basement. The door locked with a heavy click. Ethan clung to me in the darkness, too scared to cry. "It's okay," I whispered. "It's okay, baby. I'm here." Above us, footsteps, then voices. "Where is she, Harris?" "Marcus." Of course it was Marcus. "Not here." "Don't lie to me. I saw her through the window yesterday, playing happy family with your kid." A bitter laugh. "You think you can just take her? She's mine. She's always been mine. She doesn't belong to anyone." Silence. Then the unmistakable sound of a gun being cocked. "I didn't want it to come to this," Marcus said. His voice had gone flat, empty. "I really didn't, but she left me no choice. If I can't have her, no one can." I pressed my hand over my mouth to keep from screaming. Ethan buried his face in my shoulder. Nathan's voice drifted down, calm and steady. "Put the gun down, Marcus." "Why should I?" "Because you're not your father. Not yet." Silence. "Emma told me about your mother," Nathan continued. "How she died. How you were 12 years old, hiding in the closet, listening to your father beat her. How you found her at the bottom of those stairs and knew that she didn't fall." "Shut up," Marcus's voice cracked. "You loved her. You wanted to save her. And you spent your whole life hating your father for what he did." I said, "Shut up." "But look at yourself, Marcus. Look at what you've become. Emma didn't speak for 6 months because of what you did to her. 6 months. She lost her voice because you terrified her so completely she couldn't even say her own name." A sound came through the floor, halfway between a sob and a scream. "That's exactly what your father did to your mother," Nathan said, relentless. "She went silent too, didn't she? Just disappeared inside herself because fighting back made it worse. You told Emma that story once. You told her you'd never be like him." I didn't." "You are, you did. And right now you're standing in my living room with a gun, about to murder a woman and child, because you can't stand losing control. The silence stretched so long I thought my heart would stop. Then I heard something I never expected. Marcus crying, not the manipulative tears I'd seen so many times before. Real tears. The raw, ugly kind that come from somewhere you can't control. "I see her every night," Marcus said, his voice shattered. "My mother, in my dreams. She asked me why I became him, why I couldn't stop, why I—" The gun clattered to the floor. "I don't know how to stop," Marcus whispered. "I don't know how to be anything else. He taught me this. He made me this. And I can't get him out of my head." Footsteps, Nathan moving closer. "Then get help, real help. Not for Emma. That's over. She's done. And you need to accept that. But for yourself, for the next woman you meet, for the children you might have someday." A pause. "You can break the cycle, Marcus, but you have to choose to." More silence. Then, "Take care of her, better than I did." "That won't be hard." A sound that might have been a laugh. Then footsteps moving away, the front door opening and closing, an engine starting, driving away. I sat in the darkness, holding Ethan, and listened to the silence where violence should have been. The basement door opened. Nathan appeared at the top of the stairs, illuminated by the light behind him. "It's over," he said. I climbed the stairs on shaking legs. Ethan was still clinging to my neck, his face buried against my shoulder. Nathan met us at the top and pulled us both into his arms. "I thought—" My voice broke. "I thought he would—" "He's gone," Nathan said. "He's really gone." I believed him. Spring came to Pine Ridge like a promise finally kept. The snow melted, wildflowers pushed through the mud, birds returned to the trees outside my window in my room, in my home. I planted a garden behind the cabin, tomatoes and beans and sunflowers. Ethan helped me dig holes and place seeds, chattering about his drawings and his friends at school and the dog he wanted for his birthday. He called me Emma Mom now. Not replacing Sarah, never replacing her, just making room for something new. Word came from across the state. Marcus had checked himself into a treatment facility 3 days after that night. 9 months of intensive therapy for trauma, anger, and the cycles of abuse that had been passed down through his family like a genetic disease. He sold the sawmill, left Pine Ridge, started over somewhere no one knew his name or his history. I didn't forgive him. Maybe I never would. But I hoped, in some small, quiet part of my heart, that he would find a way to become the man he'd wanted to be before his father broke him. On a Saturday in May, Nathan found me on the porch watching the sunset turn the mountains gold. He sat beside me and took my hand. "Marry me." I turned to look at him. "Not because you need protection," he said quickly. "Not because you owe me anything. Because I love you. And I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life." I thought about all the reasons to say no. The trauma I still carried, the nightmares that still came sometimes, the fear that crept in during quiet moments, whispering that I didn't deserve happiness. Then I thought about Nathan, about Ethan, about the life we'd built together in this cabin in the woods, about the woman I'd become. Not the broken thing Marcus had tried to make me, but someone stronger, someone who had survived. Yes, we got married on a Saturday in late May. In the garden I'd planted, Ethan threw flower petals. 2 neighbors witnessed. No crowd, no church, just the 3 of us and a justice of the peace in the mountains watching over us like silent guardians. Nathan's vows were simple. I promise to love you without trying to own you, to protect you without controlling you, to stand beside you, not in front of you, every day for the rest of my life. My voice was strong and clear. I promise to stay, not because I need to, but because I choose to. I promise to speak when something's wrong. I promise to trust you with my fear and my hope and everything in between. Just love, real love, every day. That night we stood on the porch together, stars scattered across the sky like someone had thrown diamonds at the darkness. Thank you, I said, for saying those 4 words. Nathan smiled. Pack your things. I leaned into him. You're coming home. He kissed the top of my head. You are home. I closed my eyes and listened to the wind in the pine trees, to the creak of the old cabin settling, to the sound of Ethan's laughter drifting up from his room where he was drawing pictures of his family. I thought about the woman who had collapsed on those store steps 6 months ago, starving, silent, ready to die. I thought about how one man had stopped when everyone else walked past, how 4 words had changed everything. I thought about Marcus, somewhere far away, fighting his own demons. I hoped he would win. I hoped the cycle that had destroyed his mother and nearly destroyed me would end with him. But mostly I thought about this moment, this man, this life. I had died on March 15th, but I had been reborn on the day a stranger looked at me and said 4 words. Not because he saved me, but because he made me believe I was worth saving. The stars wheeled overhead, the night grew cold, and somewhere in the cabin behind me, a little boy slept beneath a drawing on his wall. 3 figures holding hands with crooked letters spelling out 2 simple words. My family. I was home. Finally and possibly, miraculously, I was home.